People feel lost in the modern, fast-moving world. They're not sure where we've come from or where we're going. Maybe we can answer those questions by taking a trip back in time. A trip through the political, religious and industrial uprisings we've had here in Yorkshire, the historic county of England. This is a musical trip with 12 songs spanning 2,000 years of history. This is Yorkshire Through the Ages, the new album from Tim Hunter. The story starts with the ancient kingdom of Brigantia, whose capital was in Aldborough in North Yorkshire. The Brigantes bravely defied the Romans, but eventually their territory fell to the foreign invaders. However, the resistance continued. Legend suggests that the Roman 9th Legion was annihilated during a rising of northern Brigantian forces against Roman rule. The north was truly rising.
Let's fight to the end. Don't be deceived. The north is rising once again.
The foundation of Yorkshire itself occurred in 875 AD as the Kingdom of Jorvik by the Viking chief Halfdan Ragnarsson. Yorkshire Day is celebrated on the 1st of August.
People always mean what they say. It's the Yorkshire way.
Unfortunately, the Romans weren't the last invaders Yorkshire faced. Most famously, they encountered Scandinavian Eric Bloodaxe, who became the last Viking king of York.
Last of the Viking kings. Bloodaxe, the last of the Viking kings. In their long ships, the Viking marauders came.
Under the rule of English King John, Knaresborough found favour. It was probably the most significant fortified town in the north of England, and King John took control of its castle during 1205. King John also instigated one of the country's most ancient national traditions in Knaresborough, the Royal Maundy, where monarchs present gifts to the poor. Yorkshire's rebellious streak continued with Guy Fawkes. Fawkes became involved in a plot to assassinate King James I, so that a Catholic monarch could take the throne. The plotters famously stockpiled gunpowder under the House of Lords. During the early hours of the 5th of November, Fawkes was found guarding the explosives. He was subsequently executed.
He don't have the right intent when he entered Parliament. He wanted to blow them all to smithereens.
Yorkshire experienced more conflict at the Battle of Marston Moor, where Oliver Cromwell's parliamentarian cavalry defeated the Royalists. However, Cromwell, self-styled as a Lord Protector with his Puritan values, soon became unpopular. The monarchy was restored, a very English civil war.
Revolutions are born, Marston Moor, a very English civil war. So what was it all for?
Having been invaded by sea for centuries, Yorkshire, with its ports on the North Sea, became increasingly adventurous itself in seafaring terms. In the 18th century, James Cook rose from humble Yorkshire origins to become a major figure in the age of discovery. He changed our maps, history and perceptions of the globe.
Let providence and fortitude be the winds that fill my sails to achieve my life's ambition and lead me on. Bring the contraband ashore.
Seafaring brought another activity that had nothing to do with the ideals of exploration: smuggling. Robin Hood's Bay, with its rocky coves and caves, became a centre for this illicit activity. And it wasn't just ordinary folk who showed interest in contraband.
To bring us tea, gin and brandy. With black sails under cover of night, they waited offshore for the lantern light.
Although new trade routes and globalization increased, they initially came with no ethical or moral dimensions. Unforeseen downsides, such as the slave trade, became an essential part of the economy. Yorkshireman William Wilberforce was at the forefront of the fight for the abolition of this evil trade.
Only Wilberforce can stop this evil slavery. You may choose to look the other way, but you can never say you did not know.
As our world became further explored and better understood, so grew the Gothic tales of the late 19th century. As the edges of the map were filled in by explorers like Captain Cook, no one found any demons or dragons. A replacement character was necessary to stir the imagination in the guise of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
When the sun goes down,
When the sun goes down
in Whitby Town,
Whitby Town,
Dracula's around.
Dracula's around.
Stoker was a frequent visitor to Whitby, which became the setting for many pivotal scenes in his novel. Yorkshire-based culture was taking the world by storm. Most Yorkshire people, tracing their ancestry back 2 generations, will find that their forefathers worked in mining or on the railways. If they go back another generation or 2, they'd find their ancestors living in the countryside, working on farms.
Industrial revolutions.
As cities grew and work opportunities beckoned in the Industrial Revolution, our ancestors moved from rural areas into the cities to work on the railways, building bridges, tunnels and laying tracks. By the late 20th century, the IT industry and service sectors gave rise to thousands of new jobs. As our lives continue to change, many people wonder how and where it's going to end. Independence, identity, and sovereignty, which we've fought so hard for over the centuries, are under threat.
Work in factories and mills to be the workshop of the economy. Back then we still had identity.
Maybe there is another way. Returning to a simpler life. Returning to the country, which is right where we started. Enjoy the exploration of Yorkshire's history and the classic pop rock songs on Yorkshire Through the Ages, the new album from Tim Hunter, available now on Northern Soundscapes.